So apparently, if you're a young person who doesn't smoke cigs or drink alcohol, you're not alone. Yeah, I mean, my goodness gracious, this is a huge decline. Americans who drink alcohol, we are looking at the lowest level since the 1930s. What are we talking about? Just 54% on occasion Americans say that they drink alcohol. That's down from 4 points last year. That's down from 62% in 2023. And it is way down from the record high the last year that happened when it was 71% back in 1978. This record low is being driven by younger folks and Republicans as well, as they increasingly view the idea of drinking as an unhealthy habit. The poll also asked about smoking. What does that show? Yeah, same exact idea. Turns out we're giving up our vices a little bit. What are we talking about? Smoked a cigarette in the last week. Look at this. In 2025, just 11%. A decade ago it was 19%. 2 decades ago, 25%. You look back 1974, about 50 years ago, it was 40%. What is that? That's 1/4 the level. My goodness gracious. And again, younger folks are the ones who are saying that they are smoking less, and even when you combine in e-cigarettes, we're still looking at considerably lower levels than we have in past decades. Yep, nobody smokes and nobody drinks anymore. Or at a bare minimum, people are drinking a lot less. And while I get the whole cigarettes not being so popular anymore, especially in America, we've never been a big smoking country, I think. And some of it can be explained by the kids trading in their Marlboros for geek bars. But the drinking is a sign, I think, of something a little bit more concerning. Listen, it would be great if all the kids weren't drinking anymore, because they were going to climbing gyms, or, having picnics in the park, but that doesn't really appear to be the case. The amount of time that teenagers and young adults are spending with each other, hanging out in person, is just a lot less than it used to be. And while I'm one of the proud 54% of Americans bravely saying that no, I will take that vodka cran, it's definitely emblematic of something very, very odd going on with our young people today. People are just more atomized today than they ever have been. They're spending more time alone in front of screens. And yeah, we have social media so that way everyone's always in touch with each other. But the kind of quality time that people used to spend with each other is just kind of disappearing. And again, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I mean, you can literally just look at any chart and see the amount of time that people are spending alone every day is just skyrocketing. And here's another big piece of these trends. And people watching are also going to see this tab, and you're saying that people are giving up vices, and you think sex is a vice? I'm not saying that sex is a vice. According to some people, perhaps it's a vice. It's not a vice according to the Harry Enton school of thought. But thou chicky wow wow going down, what are we talking about? No sex at all in the last year as Kate's off on the side laughing it up. Back in the... I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not laughing. She's doing something. Sure. She's not even sure. I'm blushing under all of this makeup. She's blushing. There we go. In the 1990s, among all adults, no sex at all in the last year was 18%. In 2024, look at that, no sex at all. Up again, 10 points. Look at here, those 18 to 21, look at that, 24% in the 1990s. It's the younger folks who are getting up sex. Look at that percentage, doubled no sex in the last year. Maybe they do need a little bit of alcohol. Maybe those two are related. I have so many things, I could say, and I'm going to keep my job today. Jessica. Yeah, dude, nobody's getting laid anymore. I mean, that is shocking. Like, going from 24% to basically half of all 18 to 21-year-olds not getting any action. Listen, if this was the result of a spiritual revival where, everyone's waiting till marriage, but they're all still, having good platonic relationships, that would be great. But we all know that's not what's happening. All these trends are related to each other in one way or another. If you don't go out, then you don't drink. And if you're not going out, then you're probably not going to meet someone. And if you're not going to meet someone, you're probably not going to have sex with anybody. And again, that could be totally fine if people were finding other healthy ways, to engage with people and to find community, to have fulfilling relationships that are non-sexual, I guess. But we all know that ain't happening. The amount of people reporting depression skyrocketing, the amount of people reporting loneliness is skyrocketing, and our generation still has their vices, but their vices now are like sports gambling, internet porn, video games, and smoking weed. And though all those things are like somehow significantly worse than drinking and premarital sex, like significantly worse. Humans are social creatures, even if you're a total introvert, as I am. You still need to have community. Of course, young people are going to be miserable if they're not having any fun. And a big part of growing up is going out into the world and making mistakes. It's hard to reach the next step of your life if you're still, living with your parents and incapable of taking the next step out into the world. Like, people not getting freaky is a recession indicator. Absolutely it is. And it becomes a chicken and the egg problem. Like I don't know if young people are stressed out because they aren't going out, or if they aren't going out because they're so stressed out and fearful of the future. I don't really know, but it doesn't really matter at this point either. Like, one way or another, you're gonna have to solve this. You cannot have an entire generation of people who feel overworked, tired, hopped up on antidepressants, no friends, and feeling completely hopeless about the future. Because, yeah, then of course those people aren't interested in forming any kind of relationship. Of course those people are doomers when it comes to even the thought of getting into a relationship. And absolutely, the government or politicians need to be focused on coming up with solutions to this. Because this is what happens when you just let corporations run wild and fail to address the basic needs of people. I mean, here's another great chart for you. It's the percentage of 30-year-olds today who are both homeowners and married, in the 90s compared to today. And it's gone from basically being like 50% to close to zero. And again, all these things are connected. Like if you don't leave the house and you don't have a job that pays you enough money in order to be able to afford the traditional things that represent adulthood, like a house, a car, whatever, then it's going to be very hard to find another person to build a life with if you're in a constant state of anxiety. If you're in a constant state of thinking that you can't afford the life that you want. So of course you just end up dooming and living in your parents' basement or whatever else. Or just, moving into a studio in the city and filling your house with Labubus and rather random shit and just smoking weed all day and doing the bare minimum to get by. And again, I'm not judging anybody's life choices, but there's a definitely big sector of people who don't want this. So much of the anger out there, especially amongst, I think, young men, is about this idea that they just can't really accomplish the things that they associate with manhood. And life was never gonna be easy, but doesn't have to be this hard either. Yeah, drinking and smoking are unhealthy, but you know what else is unhealthy? Working two jobs, or, having neurosis from not being able to pay your bills, feeling like a failure because at your age your parents had already bought a house and were having kids, versus, you're still on your third try at Duolingo Spanish. It makes sense that no one wants to have kids. Who wants to have kids in this economy? I mean, it's gonna cost you probably $300,000 to get this kid to adulthood, and you're not gonna get even a shred of help from the government. Instead, your wages are gonna keep getting shittier. The corporations who are above you are gonna keep getting richer and richer. The planet burning. Your support system non-existent. Healthcare getting more exorbitantly expensive by the day. Oh, and also your insurance isn't even gonna cover anything. And is the social media portion of this a big part of it? Sure. But you know what? These trends were starting before social media even took off, as the charts prove. And yeah, we gotta do more to get kids off these platforms, especially now that Mark Zuckerberg is creating AI that literally are child predators. I mean, frankly, every social media company out there at this point is like comically evil, it appears. But you can attack both tracks of this crisis. You can attack the proximal causes of why young people are so not doing well, which includes social media, which is a huge drain on their mental health, and algorithms that have no regulation or oversight, and also their economic anxieties, which is the long-term issues of this and the part of this that is never gonna go away. Because I'm telling you, this is not just a demographic crisis that is slow-moving but occurring in front of our eyes. It's also a political crisis, because people who have no future tend to go towards the extremes. And what do you see going on? Who is voting for Donald Trump? Oh yeah, primarily young men who are trapped in a system that is not working for them. And they're deciding to take it out on like women, minorities, and whoever else. Because they're getting conned by a grifter who's telling them that the problem is minorities or immigrants, and instead of the billionaires and corporations, which have literally taken everything right from out under them. And again, I know people don't like to talk about that, but it is what it is. You either fix the problem or our country continues to slide into fascism. Because when people are doing well, they have an incentive to want to defend the system. But when everyone's getting screwed, they want the system to burn. And right now, the people who want the system to burn the most don't want it to burn because they want to make sure everyone gets health care. They want it to burn so that way women don't even have the right to say no anymore. And that's a big fucking problem. And you don't have to look too far either for examples of what comes next. I mean, you already have places like South Korea where the population is just collapsing. Men and women literally hate each other. I mean, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And it's a disaster that's preventable. I would much rather have a generation of smokers than a generation of people addicted to their phones who don't even know a life outside of their Instagram feed, or sports gambling, or video games. So pay people more, tax the rich. Yes, we also need to restore third places in America, create physical communities such that people actually have a place to go, to meet people, and to be social. But also we need to create a society where, a woman getting pregnant isn't possibly a death sentence as it currently is in many places in this country, where everyone's rights are respected and also they have the economic stability to start whatever phase of their life that they want to start. Not, working 3-gig jobs, investing in crypto, and then going home to sleep in your parents' basement. Because of course, yeah, nobody's getting laid under those conditions.